clarify something so that you will not be confused. Okay, we will not just focus with camping. Remember, the title of our BSTC is also about outdoor education. So when we speak of outdoor education, we do not limit to activities only related to camping. Remember, we have a lot of activities. We have hiking, we have backpacking, we have navigation, we have orienteering, we have what else? I think I already mentioned track and trail, and then we also have mountaineering, that's the extreme already. And then we have rappelling, rescue, even mountain climbing and rock climbing and all of that, all right? And there's a lot of activities, so we just do not limit. Now considering that all of us are leaders and we will be leading our pathfinders and provide them of the variety of activities in the outdoor. So at least we have the working knowledge, how to manage, how to plan so that we'll have a safe, memorable, and beneficial, okay, beneficial outdoor activities. Hence, the topic is camping and outdoor education, okay? So allow me, let me see, okay. I will share to you my screen. Okay. So here's the continuation of our part 1, and then we'll go directly, after maybe 15 minutes, we go directly to the second part. Okay, I think this was the last part of our discussion last time, if you can still recall, camping and outdoor education. Now, everyone loves the outdoor. Why? Aside from it is medical, therapeutic, it is also biblical in nature. It is there. In fact, Jesus Christ himself, during his earthly ministry, right, it was his methodology to withdraw and bring all his disciples and the listeners to the outdoor. So outdoor education is the notion that often real learning takes place in the outdoor. We call it the widest, the biggest, and the most realistic classroom in terms of learning. And that is not academic results alone that determines a person's success. And that is why we employ and integrate in the field and in the world of pathfinding, camping, and outdoor education. Okay? What else? Oh, what happened? Okay, now, we all know, We all know being in the great outdoors allows for opportunities for all of us. Every opportunities to develop greater awareness of ourselves and others through meaningful outdoor activities. And then many important things that can be learned outdoors. In fact, this is a in the Bible, in the Gospel, or in the Desire of Ages, or also in the writings of Mrs. White, we call it a great provision of object lesson. Why? Because you can actually compare. Take, for example, you are giving lecture about different insects or different flowers, and then you're only limited and confounded with the four corners of the room. Well, even if you are being aided with presentation, with PowerPoint presentation, but it's really different if you bring them in the open to the outdoors and expose themselves and let them touch, feel, smell, embrace, and discover themselves. and instead of just limiting themselves to, to the classroom, right? So the outdoor is also a great teacher. Okay. Now, what are the values that we can learn? Number one, teamwork. Through activities involving working together, pathfinders learn the importance of teamwork. So the moment we do that by assigning accountability, responsibility, respective roles based on the individual strength of the campers, we developed their camaraderie. We developed their friendship. We developed teamwork within the respective units or group. What else? We are also teaching them the skills, the gifts of leadership. Create activities that will bring out the leader in the pathfinder and challenge them to dare to go first and set an example for the rest of the group. You will be surprised. You will be surprised. Take, for example, we have 7 to 8 men per unit or pathfinders per unit. And then the least that we expect. Why? Because he or she is maybe reserved, shy, or timid. But later on, you will discover that there is really something inside that girl or that boy. And because of that camping, you're able to discover leadership skills and leadership potential to to that pathfinder. So we do not limit and underestimate the power of these programs. What else? What are we going to develop? Huh? Of course, fellowship and fellowship. So what do you mean? Of course, a great leader is also a great follower. A great follower. Followers are just as important as leading each other, because even if there's someone leading, and then when you look behind, you see no one is following you, then you are not a leader. And because you remember the definition of disciple, disciple, meaning you are following someone, you are being mentored, you are being discipled. So it's a two-way relationship. One leads, the other follow. What else? Resiliency. Resilience is learning to bounce back and to overcome challenges. So we also integrate, we also introduce, we also provide activities whereby resiliency is being developed as a behavior or character in response of crisis to our respective pathfinders. So the outdoors environment presents a number of challenges. So remember, during our campery, okay, during our campery, we have integration of marathon and also some kind of obstacle course. All right. Hmm. Aside from that, we are also learning about environmental awareness. Actually, later I will explain and bring to you a very interesting topic, okay, about the environmental awareness. The leave no trace. It is to understand the fragility of an environment and the importance of its protection. You know, I always challenge my pathfinders and my fellow leaders that if there is one particular group that is so well known about conservation, about protection to environment and Mother Earth, it should be the pathfinders. We must be known to that to the whole world. Why? And that is the reason why we have our new start. That's the reason why we have our celebration. And that is the reason why we are part of that great study called the Blue Zone. It is because taking care of our environment is also part Okay, part of our being a steward of God. What else? Being outdoors enables pathfinders to focus on environmental issues, such as, of course, climate change, global warming, and the impact of human activity on the natural environment. Right? So please do not forget every time we have our programs, indoor, outdoor, camping, hiking, please always integrate and remind our young people, ourselves. So please be very responsible, okay, about how to take care of our Mother Earth. Camping inspires respect also for nature and teaches where we fit in the grand scheme of things that we are just we blend, and because we blend to the nature, we do not abuse, we do not overpower, um, because we admit that we are part of God's creation. We are part of the greatest or the grand scheme of God's creation. What else? Camping humbles us as we confront our frailty in the face of the natural world. Why? No one can ever challenge the mother nature. No one. You know, last week we experienced. It all started like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. We experienced the cry of the mother nature. As a matter of fact, last Friday when we traveled going to Saudi Arabia, it took us 10 hours. Why? Because 1.5 hours we were stranded. It's a long line of vehicles in Dubai South, and if not because of that, because the vehicle of Dr. Hugo it's a big vehicle, we are able to manage, but many got stuck to the traffic, really, no, because flood was so high, it's almost waist deep. I think so, yeah, because we saw some vehicles stranded inside uh, the flooded area. So we cannot really challenge the mother nature, and so it reminds us to be respectful, humbling ourselves. What else? Oh, social skills. Group activities encourage finders to want to interact with one another and build new friendship. That is why we discourage. Remember the last time we took about Wi-Fi detox and gadgets detox. To discourage, of course, so that you know, we can appreciate the camping, and at least forget for a while. And then we go now to the guidelines for a good camp out. All right. Campers and staff recognize that God is with them. That is why we always integrate the spirituality. We have morning worship, we have evening devotional, and we have integration of faith and learning in all of our activities. Second to that, program is well planned with little dead time. So time management is very important among us organizers and of course leaders. This has been a challenge. So there must be a cooperation between the two parties, the organizers, the leaders, and also of course the campers. Okay. Number three, please remember this, the 3S. Okay. Sanitation, safety, and security. The 3S's: sanitation, safety, and also security. All right. So every time you plan about outdoor activities, every time you plan about camping, every time you plan about hiking, every time you plan about, start studies out in the open, please remember this. Before you leave, okay, clean the area. And then, of course, safety is the number one priority. And of course, security of our young people. Why? Because the life and the limb of our young people, okay, depends upon our protection and our leadership. Importance of consideration for the other campers. So we are implementing so strictly, especially siesta hour, the rest time, the sleeping time, because this is the only time that we can rest. Okay, when the our counselor and our pastors and our leaders and our master guides will say, okay, it's sleeping time. We really have to follow, right? So that we will have time, long time to rest. Everyone to take part in all activities. Okay, we discourage one or two members of the club who just stay inside the tent, or they have their own, they have their own program or activities. Why? Because there is actually danger to that. Because the focus of our leaders, okay, the focus of our leaders is there during the activity, and you have your separate. That's very dangerous. Why? Especially if there's no adult supervising it. That's very dangerous. Okay, so we encourage our young people that every time we have activities, we really have to bring them out and then bring them to the proper venue. Camp rules must be obeyed, especially those on safety side. Okay, now segue. When I was in elementary, I told you I first, joined when I was 9 years old. And I remember we have stockage, or it's actually a, I don't know if you can relate. And then the stockage was placed almost in the center. Now, if there are pathfinders violating rules, you will be put inside the stockage, and the rest of the pathfinders can see you. Of course, you will be embarrassed and ridiculed. That was our experience. Why? Because they were very strict. Activity time, you will participate. It's our activity time. Okay, no one is allowed to have its own activity outside of the regular programming. Okay, so again, we leaders, sometimes during the campus we notice that it is our responsibility to encourage them to join. Remember that in planning the camp out, variety is the spice of life. I told you last time, camporee, camping, any of the activities, okay, is unique of its own. There's no camporee that is the same one after the other. So they're all of the camporees that we attended to and experienced, they all of them brought to us a lot of good memories, and different modality of experiences and memories. Okay, now steps in planning a Pathfinder camp out. Number one, notify the church board if you are a local uh, a local based club. If you are a school-based club, please notify your administrators. Vis-a-vis, of course, our parents. Okay, in other jurisdiction, they are handling and distributing form for parents to sign. Sometimes they call it waiver. Just to inform all the stakeholders, parents, and administrators. Okay, so what I would like to emphasize is notify, okay, especially the church board and governing authority. Submit camp information sheet and program to them, or simply saying your purpose, your plan. If you already have a plan, present to them for approval. Go for a reason. I already told you this, and have a clear goals and objective. What kind of camping is this? Friendship come, evangelism come, skills demonstration come, survival come. Okay, um, any purposes for that matter. book campgrounds early or seek permission of the property owners to come there. I mentioned also last time about paying courtesy call to the authorities. And then, of course, notify if it is a private place, ask for permission, and then the barangay council, the village that has jurisdiction over the place, you also have to tell them and inform them of your presence. And then campsite, establish the campsites, facilities, hiking trails, all of them must be inspected. Okay. In my case, I am really very strict about ocular inspection, especially if you are new to the place. Why? Because you have to inform. In fact, there was even one time that I asked the barangay council, or the barangay captain, or the chieftain of the village. I asked for a privilege, and I explained to them our purpose, so that they will be informed. They will not be surprised of all our activities, because we have orienteering, and map reading. And sometimes map reading, you will go outside of your camp, so they will not be surprised of your presence. Okay, so conduct an ocular inspection, and then conduct also courtesy call to the governing authorities. To if there is a nearby military camp, go to the one in charge, and if there is a police station, also inform them as much as possible during the opening ceremony. You can also invite them and introduce to them what is pathfinding as a ministry all about. Give campers a copy of camp program with rules and regulation. Usually we put it at the back. Regulations, rules and regulations. And these rules and regulation, it's going to be explained and read, especially during the opening, okay, the opening ceremony. Design the campsite layout arrangement intelligently according to the contour, according to design, according to the landscaping of the area. And then, what else? Following must be marked. Yeah, well, we have some kind of a sample, okay? Sample, just this one. I'm showing to you an old picture of how um, they designed their camp. It's actually very raw, okay, because that's actually our tradition. But now we used to have an established camp. In the US, every conference maintained of their own established camp already with all of these facilities. But for conferences that don't have the money to purchase a property, or maybe away from, they used to rent just like us. Okay, we rent, we look for an established. But just in case you don't have, you can actually rent and pay, or ask the permission of a private owner. And because that's raw, it is really you who will provide for the train, for for an improvised toilet, and if the venue is raw. This is an example. This is an example of a campsite's layout. Things to consider when planning for a camp out. Of course, transportation. Why? Because, accessibility, and of course, in case of emergency, at least you have the basic transportation. What else? I will explain to you later on about ample tents. What do you mean by ample tents? These are tents because remember, we will only enjoy all the programs, the entire duration of the camping or the campery, if we have a better sleep and rest. Because the moment our time to rest and sleeping is compromised, expect that many pathfinders will say, Pastor, sir, mom, can I go home? Because they don't have the luxury of time or even the decency to rest. And one way to address that is to provide and secure the best tent When I say the best, I will explain to you what do I mean with the word the best. Why? Because every tent is designed according to the season of the place. General camping gear, okay? Of course, the tarpaulin, gas stove, hurricane, the lamps, the portable, all of this equipment, first aid, and then camp personnel, and then of course food and camp menu or food provision. 6 things to look for in a good campsite. Campsite must be away from the city, of course, for all of us to appreciate. And then why? Because the reason, the logic behind this, so that number one, all of us will enjoy. Because if there's no change of environment, like you're camping in the ambience is the same as the regular environment in the city, so you cannot catch and encourage their attention to stay. Okay. Another one, of course, it is biblical really to be away so that we can perform all our activities, outdoor activities. Second, there must be a fresh water available. Well, as I've said, depending on the situation. In our case, we are a bit modern because we can just call the delivery guy to come and provide us water that we need. All right. But if you go back to your home country and then you have a camping out in the open, very raw, of course, you will look for a place where you have accessibility to a potable water as much as possible. Water that can be you can drink. Okay. Number three, of course, firewood. If the place allows you to produce and build your own fire, of course, firewood must be considered. Otherwise, we have to use the other alternative, and that is by bringing portable stove available in the market today. And of course, good sanitation. Because if sanitation is not it's not good, then we can easily pollute the air, and we will find it so uncomfortable. And then many of our providers say, I want to go home because I cannot move for 1, 2, 3, for 3 days now. Five, again, ample tents and shelters which are sturdy, meaning it can survive in a given situation. We'll have more about it later. Permissible to build fires and do camp cooking. Permissible. Okay, if the government, if the authority will allow you to do that, then that's good. And the last but not the least, camp inspection. Camp inspection. The inside of the tent must be clean, okay? No litter should be found inside and outside of the tent. Clothes, sleeping gear must be folded so neatly and presentably. And then, what about shoes? Shoes should be arranged neatly outside of the tent. The Bibles, all right? Tent pegs should be driven in and not staking out because it will cause accidents. The tent should be sturdy, the guidelines, and then hands and fingers of pathfinders are checked for personal cleanliness. Of course, you have to take a bath. Camp inspection protocol. As the camp inspection team approaches, the tent leader calls those in his tent to stand in attention. Usually, we let them stand and form, okay, before their respective tents. Then, of course, there must be a proper protocol and said, "Sir, Eagle unit is ready for inspection, sir." Right? And of course, you will stand at ease or parade dress, depending on the command. Okay. And then now we will go to the second one. Second one. Sister G, do you see my second screen?
All clear. Can see it.
Yeah, all right. So welcome to the part two, and I hope you will also learn. Okay, this particular topic will somehow expand our orientation about outdoor education proper. The basic, or we call this one the BMC, and these rules are generally accepted around the world. Okay, so the BMC for hiking and also for backpacking. Let me introduce to you firstly Leave No Trace. Leave No Trace is actually an organization around the world. Okay, the reason why I included this because I have noticed that we need to emphasize the outdoor education part, and one of which is to introduce our young people for the Leave No Trace principle. What is Leave No Trace? Okay, what is Leave No Trace as we know? Participants, just like you and me, must learn about these seven principles of the Leave No Trace. Okay, simple ways to reduce the impact, the negative impact on the natural environment. Now, considering that our Pathfinder ministry, the World of Pathfinding, also will include outdoor activities. So we must have a working knowledge as to the principles of this Leave No Trace. Okay. So Leave No Trace principles, plan ahead and prepare. That's number one. Be considerate of others. That's number two. Respect farm animals and wildlife. Next, travel and camp on durable ground. Next, leave what you find. Okay, I want to emphasize this because I have noticed, especially when we go on a hiking and then we see a very beautiful rock formation or a stone. Oh, I like this one. I will bring this one to my house as a souvenir. And oh, leave what you find. Dispose of waste properly. And then the last one, minimize the effects of fire as much as possible. Because if you are negligent, you can cause a grass fire, and the grass fire will spread to a larger area or space, and it will jeopardize, not just properties, but also life. All right. So again, plan ahead and prepare, travel and camp on durable surfaces. I will explain this. Dispose of waste properly, leave what you find, minimize campfire impact, respect wildlife, be considerate of other visitors as well. Because sometimes in the area, you are not the only one, the only group. You have your own activities, and the other group, they also have their own activities, okay? Well, on the road and trails, okay? So imagine that you are hiking or backpacking or mountaineering, all right? Stay on roads and trails to protect wildlife, wildlife habitats, plant ecosystems, cultural sites, and historical areas. Remember this. Avoid travel on roads and trails when extreme environmental condition exists. Travel on the most durable spaces like gravel, rock, sand, dry grass. Remember, we have quicksand, we have mud, so enticing that you will come close. And at the moment you step on that, you will. That's why it's really a must to walk on durable spaces, surfaces. The clue is walk on established path or trail. Usually, you will follow signage. All right? Walk or ride on established trails. Do not create your own. Why? I'll give you the reason behind. Suppose you walk on private property And then the owner just allow you to establish a small path for human being, just for human being. And then because you see that the path is a little bit muddy and you don't want, dirt for your shoes or hiking shoes. So you will establish another trail. And suppose you are 50 or 20. Can you imagine after 30 to 1 hour of passing and establishing a new trail, the damage on that private property becomes big and wide. What if the owner will decide and say, okay, I will just, I will put barrier to my property and put signage, do not no trespassing, you see. So we have to respect and just walk on the established path already. Walk on a single file in the middle of the trail, even when muddy or wet. Okay. What about at the campsite? Now, it happened many, many times. The golden rule is do not be attracted to dry beds. Rivers that are already dry. Okay, do not camp on the ground. Please secure yourself as much as possible. Okay, protect riparian areas and trails by camping at least 200 feet or about 70 steps away from the lakes, because we don't know, you are camping in a particular area and yet far a distance to the mountain there is a heavy rain, and then you are sleeping during the night, and then you see the water from the mountain rushing. Then, oh, so what happened? What happened to you if you are camping on the dry beds? You will be smashed away together with the strong current coming from the mountain. Okay. I have witnessed this in my own, in my own eyes. When some campers, it's good that they survive. Evaluate the area when selecting a campsite. In popular areas, concentrate use on existing sites. In pristine areas, disperse use to prevent the creation of the new campsites. Again, ask the permission. Ask the permission. If the place is raw, and then you have contact to the owner, ask them, where can I pitch my tent? The place allowed for you to set your camp. What about disposing of waste and waste disposal? Pack out all trash. All right. Now, in this case, there is a cigarette because this is an international lecture. So, if you are able to bring food and everything, like for example, you bring with you a sardines or beans, okay, and it's already empty. If you are able to bring it, why can't you bring that on an empty can if the can is already empty? Okay. So again, pack out all trash, yours and others. Pack. Keep the wildlife wild in the wildlife. Do not bury or leave behind any food or food scraps. Why? Because the wild animals, they are not supposed to eat our garbage because they have their own nature as an animal for survival. When a latrine or bathroom is not available, deposit solid human waste in a cat hole dam. Okay, preferably according to the expert, at least 6 to 8 inches deep, or 8 inches deep, at least 200 feet away from the source of water, from the trail work site, so that to avoid human pollution. Cover and disguise the cat hole when finished. Okay. Use toilet paper. Yes, it's biodegradable. It's You can use that. Do not leave on the ground, included. Okay. Pack out all the toilet paper, hygiene, etc. You can carry Ziploc or yeah, Ziploc for emergency cases. Follow site recycling program. And what else? When we attended this seminar many years ago, I think it's like 27 years or 28 years. When we attended the seminar, the professor from Australia told us never to use commercial soap. If you are taking a bath in the river or creek or, because it will pollute. Exception if you have a bio degradable soap, not highly chemical, meaning,
Ikatan ini.
it's
According to mini
you
linunuan,
can actually do that. Okay, you can adopt that, you can use that. All right, they are very strict. Actually, they are very strict because you are polluting, you are also killing the not just the microorganisms, but all the living things that um that are already there. What else? uh Leave what you find, help preserve the past. Leave any historical or cultural artifacts and sites as you find them. So if you have cell phone, you just take picture. Do not bring any object for remembrance. Orchids, wildflowers, insects, racks, and others. Picture is the best, remembrance. Okay. Report any cultural finding to site cultural. This is in the context where you can discover a place where the ancient, a burial is there. You discover, this used to be the burial sites. Leave rocks and plants and other natural objects as you find them. Avoid introducing or transporting non-native species. Okay, they're very strict on this. Minimize campfire impacts. All right. Again, as much as possible, if we can bring our portable, because we are on a hiking or camping or backpacking, if we can bring our portable. Otherwise, because building campfire is only intended for emergency situation. That's why we have a camp stove available nowadays. Respect, again, I said, respect wildlife. Do not disturb their homes, the bees, if you see a bird's nest, leave it alone. It's there, it's their life, it's their world. You are just a visitor there. You're just a visitor. Observe wildlife from a distance. Give wildlife plenty of space. Avoid loud noises, sudden movement, and never follow or approach an animal, especially if it is wild. Never feed animals or leave for scraps that might be eaten because, not all of them can survive, especially if it is a new one. They are wild. They ought to exist in the wild, and it will change their nature and also their behavior. Be sure visitors control pets at all times or leave them at home. Um, if the regulation, if the site will not allow you to bring your pet. Be considerate of other visitors. Let nature sounds prevail, not human sound. Okay? And please take note, never ever bring Bluetooth speaker. And then you will, oh my, that is not camping at all. That's not nature. If you want to listen to your music, you go back. Do not join the hiking and the backpacking. Huh? Leave the, especially nowadays. Sometimes we mix the beauty of nature with the our usual, okay, the usual thing that we enjoy in the comfort of our room. It's not the thing, that's why we go to camping, because we want to experience a different environment. Respect visitors, protect the quality of their experience. Many people go to sites to enjoy the peace, tranquility, the solitude found there, and be courteous to them. I'm speaking in the context of hiking and backpacking and mountaineering. That you are not the only group, okay, enjoying the place. What about hiking rules? We now come. This is the last portion, hiking rules. Let me introduce to you this very, very classic. It's already old. Again, this is internationally acclaimed principle, just like the leave no trace. They go hand in hand. Hiking rules. Leave nothing but footprints. Do not leave behind your your trash, the garbage, and everything. Okay, only the footprints will be left behind. That's number one golden principle. Leave nothing but footprints. Number two, take nothing but pictures. Do not take just because you like the flower. I want to. I have so many collections of flower and stones and rocks and insects. I will. Oh my, huh? That is a violation for this rule. Take nothing but pictures. If you really appreciate the beauty of the flower that you see for the first time, just take picture. Okay, just pick picture and then put it in a big picture frame, and then kill nothing but time. Do not kill animals and everything. So remember this from now on. Leave nothing but footprints. Take nothing but pictures. Kill nothing but time. Remember, we are only a visitor to the nature. We let the other younger generation, coming generation, to also enjoy the beauty of nature. Let us not destroy it with our negligence and carelessness and abuses. Let me introduce to you apparel and accessories. Okay. Well, the good news is we now have affordable and available camping equipment nowadays. We have Amazon, we have Temo, we have so many of this that you can just order, okay? From tent to personal apparel to sleeping bag to stove to your kitchen utensils. Okay, let's start with tent. Okay, let me introduce to you different types of tent. Okay, there's a lot, but I am just presenting to you the general one. Now, the yellow one, the brand it North Face, we call it the four season, meaning you can bring this during summer, you can bring this winter, rainy days. But the drawback is this tent is a little bit expensive. It's like how many in dirhams? Is 50,000 pesos. 50,000 pesos, it's like 3,500 dirhams. But you know what? I think 4 years, 3 years ago, I was able to buy one. It was on sale. It was sale in Sun and Sons in Ras Al Khaimah. I was very happy because it's like 450 or 500 only. So I brought it home because this is very expensive. These 10, they use this at the high altitude of Mount Everest and K2 in Pakistan. So this is the four season. We'll have also a three season and the 3 to 4 season convertible. So if I were you, I am recommending this pen to you, the three season or the four season, because this is applicable in our in UAE or in the GulfField. Okay. Now BV is for if you like light packing, okay, or you are a minimalist hiker, BV. But this is only one person. It's very light. And then for survival, we have the tarp or the floorless that you can design as an A. You can design like this. You can design as a TP1, all right? And then we have the single wall or the non-self-standing. Like for example, this one it is called complete covered ply. Now let me introduce to you this one. If I were you, okay, please, please, if you have budget, please buy a complete covered ply tent. It will protect you from the rain you will enjoy. It will protect you, of course, from, that's why this is called the four season tent. Okay, just like this one, because it has a net that will protect you from bugs and insects. And the ply, you know, the ply is the outer layer covering or protection. Actually, this is my tent. I have this tent. I have 4 to 5 tents, depending on the situation. Now you can actually order this one, okay, in Amazon. It's affordable, especially if your home country is a tropical one, just like the Philippines. In Africa, we have a lot of countries there, also experiencing rain, tropical areas. You really need a complete tent. And please, I discourage you. We are lucky, right? Because here in GCC countries, we don't have, we only have rain maybe once or twice a year. Okay, we call this one the bishop tent. And if you have this tent and you use it in your camping, in especially in tropical areas where unexpectedly you have rain, mind you, you will never survive. Why? You look at the covering. We call this the ply sheet or the cover sheet. Okay, it's only halfway. It's not really halfway. It's like the I don't know what's the term of the bishop. That's why they called it the bishop tent. And well, during the camporee, I saw a lot of that. It's good that we don't have rain. Remember the recently concluded international camporee at Wyoming. They canceled, they aborted 1 or I think 2 days earlier because of the strong winds and rains, and many, they were sucked in the water because many of them used this bishop tent. All right. Well, this is only for survival. We call this one the tarp tent. You can also have this only for survival. Huh? Only for survival. That, of course, it will not guarantee you 100% that you will stay dry and protected from the rain. Well, emergency, improvise. What about backpacks? I am presenting to you two types of backpack, the external and the internal frame. When we say external frame, you will literally and visibly see the frame in externally. Okay, I used to have this backpack. The brand is Kelty. I like the very, very, very old, 25 years ago. I'm not sure if we still have this one in the market now, because the internal frame is the one available in the market, because the frame is inside the backpack. You know what? Backpacks, okay, come in different sizes. And how do you know that backpack will fit to you? Okay, backpack is actually measured by volume and size. So if you buy, usually like I will buy a backpack by liters, okay, by liters, because 1 liter is equivalent to 1 kilo, right? So 13 liters, 20, 25, depending on your size, your height, and then your torso, and then your legs, okay? If you are really very strict, that backpack will really fit you, okay? There is a rule to follow. Take, for example, this one. And also, depending on how many days you will be out in the open. Of course, we have small, medium, and large, okay? And if it is a day hike or overnight, maybe small to medium will do. But if it is exploration or camping or hiking for 5 days to 1 week, you really need a large backpack, all right? Now, trail and hiking shoes. Your best mode of transportation, okay, are your feet. Your feet. The moment you are injured, oh my, that's the end. You cannot enjoy. That's the end of your outdoor experiences. That's why you have to train, exercise prior to the hiking, prior to the backpacking, prior to the camping. And you have to secure and use appropriate hiking boots or shoes. Now, when we speak of hiking boots or shoes, this is called the boots. Why? Because your ankle is protected. It's a little bit high. We have a lot in the market available. We also have the trail shoes. Trail shoes. We have so many brands available, the trail shoes. What about for stove? We have so many types of stove in the market right now. Let me introduce to you butane. Butane, it's like LPG. Okay, so the left one, it's butane. The drawback or the disadvantage about butane is the moment it is consumed, then you have another canister. But for your right side, it is called multi-fuel. Why? Because you can use kerosene, you can use unleaded, or you can use gasoline, you can use naphthalene, you can use denatured alcohol. It's multi-fuel. Multi-fuel. You know, the MSR company, they really produce this one for exploration because not all fuel are available in every country. So multi-fuel. We have kerosene, okay? We have wood stove. And then, of course, we have the classic one, very affordable from China, from elsewhere, right? Butane stove with this one, a canister. But of course, you cannot bring this one to a long hiking because this one is heavy. That's why they introduced this small one, okay? And then we have improvised, maybe for 2 to 3 hours camping or hiking, you can just bring a very light, okay, a very light alcohol stove. You can also improvise. This one is from Coca-Cola can. You can improvise. What about for sleeping bag? We have at least two types. Number one, the regular one, and then the mummified. They called it the mummified. Now the question is, how do we know which sleeping bag is appropriate? You know, sleeping bag is measured according to its season because every season comes with the degree. Because sleeping bags for Mount Everest, you cannot use that to a summer camp because you will you will sweat. So season one, season two, depending on the usage, all right, the environment. What about lights? Of course, we have headlamp. For me, I always prefer headlamp because your hands can freely move, especially if you are hiking, you are using your hand. And we have LED flashlights, very much available in the market today and also affordable. Oh, cook set. Yes, you have your own cook set. And please take note, these are made from titanium and very light, okay? Really designed for backpacking. And this is actually a picture of a backpack. Now the question is, how do you pack? Don't you know that there is a rule how to pack? Okay, the anatomy of how to pack. Okay, please consider this. The heaviest object must be close to your torso at the back. Okay, and then the lightweight, of course, on top, that includes your poncho, your raincoat, and then the sleeping bag. Look at that, so sleeping bag underneath, because that is the last object that you're going to use. And of course, we have the medium part, of course, what else? Your clothes and everything. Okay, so this is the best way to pack your things. Of course, we have climb preparation. Of course, you need physical fitness. weight training, all right? And then because the best way to enjoy camping and outdoor is to prepare physically. Why? Because the moment you join and you are unprepared physically, you become the liability of the group. And chances are, or they will blame you for the rest of your life because they cannot in unless it is an accident. All right, unless it is an accident. So please, in outdoor, your capital, okay, the best way to enjoy is to prepare yourself physically. So join pre-climb meeting. This is the meeting before the climb, before the hiking, because announcement, the orientation, what kind of trail you expect, and then the environment, etc. Okay, so please attend. All right. What else? Clean up climbs, different kinds of climb. Clean up the major climb, exploratory, friendship, investiture climb, climb for requirements. Okay, climb organization. Okay, climb organization. This is very important. I have seen many, of course, I have seen many churches hiking, and because we have so many established path already. Of course, please do not forget to establish team leader or the lead one. And then, of course, we have the medic. Of course, we have the middleman. And then we have the tailman or the sweeper. And then you have to group them. You have to adopt a body system and then a group for emergency situation. At least the body can report, and then the middleman will also report and give signal to the lead man to stop and wait for you because there is emergency. Okay, so the role of the team leader is very important, and also the lead man, the sweeper or the tailman, because he will report. And that is why other groups, they are using the walkie-talkie. Okay, but now if we have cell phone with signal, we can also use that. Okay, the medic, the scribe, the tailman, or the leadman, right? Uh-huh. And then, of course, you have to plan budget, meal planning for the group. Remember that we have equipment, personal equipment, and we have group equipment every time we go on a hiking. Now, I want to emphasize something. Of course, trail food. It must be nutritious and, of course, light. Okay, do not bring cake. Nuts, crackers. In the market now, we have power bar. It's a little bit expensive, but not really that expensive. Power bar. Mountain climbers, if you go to high altitude, they're bringing the power bar. It's very light, but the nutrients are packed. What about the trail movement? Follow the lead man. Okay, respect, and then always maintain distance. The ideal distance is approximately 2 meters, especially if you go on a steel, okay? Enough for you to see the back of the person at the back portion. Follow the trail signs, if there are, trail techniques. Crossing, if you're river crossing, you can do that. Okay, what about rest? The golden rule is rest before you get tired. It's like 5 minutes for 30 to 45 minutes of hike, at least 3 to 5 minutes rest. Do not rest for an hour because acclimatation will be hampered. You will go back. You will go back to the temperature. So if you can just like the boxer, they do not rest for like an hour. So they taught us like 3 to 5 minutes every 30 to 45 or an hour of hiking. Rest before you get tired. All right. What about water provision? Okay, water provision. Remember, if you go on a hiking or you have to contribute water to the group, especially if the campsite does not have a source of water. So there, half of a liter, that is your provision for trail water. And then you also reserve 1 liter in the camp. That is your personal consumption, drinking, including, brushing your teeth. Okay, you really have to budget your water, and then you will donate at least 1 liter to the group for cooking and for operation, especially if you stayed on the camp for 3 days. So how many liters of water that you're going to bring? Huh? Uh, half of a liter, one, that's 2.1. And then from another half going down. So at least, 3 to 4 liters. And that is 4 kilos already. So if you are not prepared physically, you will not really enjoy. Uh, so leave nothing but footprints, take nothing but pictures, kill nothing, kill nothing but time. And then after the climb, after the hiking, after the backpacking, also attend the post climb or the climb party so that you will evaluate, so that next time around you can improve. Okay, you can improve things that are needed to be improved. All right. Okay. So that's all. Well, climbing list, you can actually research, but of course we have, at least we have the basic ones for climbing checklist: money, cellular phone, identification, whistle, of course your books, backpack, and so it depends on the purpose, and then of course the duration of your stay. Um, this was when we climbed the highest mountain in the Philippines. When was that? I forgot the year. Was still very young. Oh, this was 2008. So that's it. Thank you so much. At least we are done with our camping and outdoor education. And I hope that you have learned a lot of things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pastor. You're right on time. We are grateful. So much material, so much to absorb, and so for us to be practical and be able to serve our young people much better. Thank you, everyone. As usual, this material will have the session was recorded. MG Moses, I see your hand is up.
Just a question, Master Geraldine. Can we get all these slides also from the previous presentation so we can share it also with the people?
All right, we'll arrange that.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you so much. All right, we are wrapping down, wrapping all our topics, and we are preparing actually on a countdown to almost have our session for PSTC completed. Just one
Recording
adjustment.
stop.